Hey guys, how's it going? So in last week's video, I showed you my top 10 inspirational drummers. Following on from that, I wanted to do a video about my top 10 inspirational bands. So I've automatically discounted Dream Theater and Avenged Sevenfold for obvious reasons. I mean, if I had those in my list, it would get pretty damn predictable. So I've taken those out, and I really wanted to kind of showcase the bands that have influenced me in a more musical way rather than just being drums. Something a bit more all-rounder. So this is the list of that, and I hope you guys agree with it. If not, then show me what you've got, what you think. Any of the bands that influenced you over the years, just let us know in the comments. So let's jump in at number 10 with Crowded House. It's a band that I've been listening to ever since I was a child. My mum and dad basically sort of got me into that one. I grew up with it. The album Woodface is most definitely my favourite album of theirs. Some cracking songs on that. Still listen to it to this day. You know, it's on my playlist, so definitely give that one a check out. Number 9, we have Linkin Park. Well, what can you say about Linkin Park? I mean, the absolute giants. Unfortunately, as everyone knows, Chester Bennington did commit suicide last year, which was a real tragedy. I actually recorded a drum cover about a week before he committed suicide, and I released it early in memory of him. I'll link that up to the YouTube card. Linkin Park I was introduced to by my brother. We were used to go on holidays to France quite a lot, and just spent a lot of time in the van that we had that my dad sort of converted into a motorhome. Did a pretty good job of it, I know. And the albums, Hybrid Theory, Meteora, that kind of sort of era, we listened to on repeat all the time. It was fantastic albums. And obviously, if you've not listened to them, then you've been living under a rock. So I highly recommend that to everyone. And then on to number 8. Again, this was another band that my brother introduced me to. I'd never heard of them before, and I think my first song that I listened to was Drive. And I was blown away by just how laid back the music was, how simple yet effective it was. The singing on it is really, really nice. He's got a fantastic vocal. The drumming, again, simple but really effective. And the guitaring was intricate but understandable at the same time. It was a bit of another complex sort of combination that they had going on there, so I was very impressed with their music. I think to date my favourite song of theirs is Are You In? Mainly because that chorus is just so smooth. I think the entire song itself is just really smooth. It works so well, and I think, again, one of my all-time favourites. So that's another one to listen to. Number 7, we have Alkaline Trio. When I was about sort of 13 or 14 years old, I had a paper round. I think most people did. I just got myself a brand new little MP3 player. It was about this big, and you could store about 20 or 30 songs, I think, on it. It wasn't very good. Even for the time, I don't think it was very good. And Alkaline Trio's Crimson was the one that was on that, and again, just a cracking album. I think the first track, Time to Waste, I've done a drum cover of. Again, I'll link that up there. But when you just kind of listen to an album and you can go through track 1, track 2, track 3, and just keep going straight through the album, you know you're on a winner there. I think if there's any songs on albums that you have to skip, that's when it starts losing, I think, a bit of feel for me. So when they brought out Crimson, and I just got hooked on it straight away. I think it was a fantastic album. And, you know, you got things like Burn and Deathbed, Mercy Me. All those are just fantastic songs, and I highly recommend listening to that. At number 6, we have the Devin Townsend project. Now, I know this is going to be slightly predictable because I had Ryan Van Poodle on my inspirational drummers list. However, the band as a whole, Devi came out with some really great material, and especially in his early days when it was Strapping Young Lad, the album Alien was very angry, very powerful. Again, lots of really heavy riffs and screaming, all that kind of stuff. And it was such a popular album and a great album. But then in his later years, he decided to kind of calm it down a touch. He re-recorded some of his older tracks that he did later on. So you had Kingdom, and then he re-recorded that on Epic Cloud. And again, what a fantastic song. That's probably his flagship song. So yeah, that's definitely worth checking out. Number 5, we have Green Day. When I started high school, me and my mate Daniel Lowry, we just basically kind of spent our entire time in music, sat in the corridor with acoustic guitars playing through Jesus of Suburbia, Basket Case, just all the Green Day hits. And it was a great time, you know. I mean, it was when they brought out the song Jesus of Suburbia, that was the first time I'd ever heard really a much longer song. And with it being a single as well, it was quite unheard of to really have a mainstream song that was so long. And I just immediately gravitated towards it. And it wasn't until a lot later on in my life that I realised that with that being such a long song, it was kind of progressive, and I had a bit of an ear for progressive songs, but I didn't know that at the time. So yeah, Green Day is definitely my number 5 because they were a massive influence on the way I wanted to approach the music in my earlier days. I mean, I liked a lot of the pop punk stuff, and yeah, I just think they were a fantastic band. They had such great stage presence. I saw them live. Can't remember what year that would have been, 2009, 2010, I think, in Manchester at the cricket ground, and they blew me away. You know, I mean, again, having listened to them for my entire school years and got to see him live for the first time there, that was a really really nice treat. So again, I recommend anyone going and seeing them. Number 4, All That Remains. Now, I wasn't really going to have them on this list just because I never really fully got into them. However, the songs that I did listen to just really changed my perspective on how to approach certain types of songs. So whereas you've got these really aggressive songs, they've got some like really high screaming, because he's got such a great rounded out voice where he can do the really low screams and the high ones at the same time. Well, not at the same time, but in the same songs and stuff. And he brings a really nice, unique sort of flavour to the songs. The drumming, again, is very clinical. I find that even though they went through a couple of different drummers, the feel in that respect was kind of the same, where they wanted this kind of very fast but staccato kind of feel on the drums. And that was something that I immediately picked up because I was like, wow, the clarity in that is unbelievable. In terms of when they did the softer songs, that's another one that was kind of changing in my perspective on things, because even though you've got this band that's really heavy and aggressive, they can really slow things down and get you this really nice feel when it comes to doing the softer songs. At number 3, we have Breaking Benjamin. Now, this was a band that, even though their songs sounded very similar because they had the same type of formula, they became very popular because there was a couple of their songs that just really took off. I think one of the most popular ones was things like Blow Me Away and The Diary of Jane. And again, with the band that they had, Ben Burnley, the lead singer / founder, he got in this band that was really clinical in what they were playing. You know, I mean, they had a lot of feel, especially the drummer. They had a lot of feel, but then they were very precise and calculated in what they played. And if you see them live, I've not just seen them live myself, but I've seen live videos. The music is flawless. You know, the band play the music absolutely brilliantly. The vocals sometimes are, you know, left to be desired, I guess. But he does a decent enough job. Now, like I said earlier, I'm not going to be including Dream Theater and Avenged Sevenfold in this list because they would be at my number 2 and 1. That's just obvious. So I decided on this one to change things up a little bit. And before I get to my number 2, I want to do some honourable mentions. Same sort of thing what I did in the last video. So you got Fall Out Boy. Before Folie Deux and Folie Deux, I'd never really got into them that much. I mean, obviously, you got songs like Dance Dance and Sugar We're Going Down. They were very, very popular, especially in my school. There were a lot of people listening to them. But it wasn't until the follow-up albums, where the Folie Deux, that I really got into them, because I felt like the songs were a lot weirder. And I know that sounds strange in itself, but the lyrics didn't seem to make sense until you kind of read them and put your own spin on them. So again, I've always been a fan of quirkier songs. So yeah, I quite like that album. The Amity Affliction. I was sat at home one night, just dead late, had a few beers, listening to Scuzz. Nothing really entertaining that on, and the song that was playing was called Death's Hand. And to this day, that's my favourite song of theirs. I think it was just absolutely brilliant. Just was really nice, solid backbeat. Obviously, it's that post-hardcore sort of feel to it as well. The screaming vocals were really good, and then the clean choruses just really stood out to me. And I think that was a really nice combination that they had to that song. So straight away, I had to research them. I found the album Let the Ocean Take Me. That was an incredible album, and just straight away I was blown away by the kind of sound that they had. I'd listened to some post-hardcore stuff before that, but nothing really sort of jumped out at me. So listening to these guys, I thought I'd give them a chance, and again I got the opportunity to go and see them at Academy 2 in Manchester, and they just absolutely amazing. Seriously brought the house down. Crossfade. Again, an amazing band. Ed Sloan's just a great songwriter. He's coming out with some new music. I think he's already brought out some acoustic stuff. So definitely go and check that out. The self-titled album had one of my favourite songs of all time on it. It was called Dead Skin. A solid song throughout, the deep vocals on it, the really sort of lower guitar tone that he has on that, and it just sounds altogether a really great combination of different feels, and this really solid song. Obviously, they got some other songs on there that did as singles, so again, go and check those out. So yeah, back to my number 2. Fairly predictable, I guess, but you've got Bullet for My Valentine. Ever since I was in school, I think it was The Poison had just come out, and that just kind of blew away me and all my friends. We were just like listening to that, thinking, "Wow, this is like revolutionary stuff." I've never heard this type of stuff before, and they hit the nail on the head with that kind of music. The follow-up stuff, you had things like Scream Aim Fire and Fever, and again the way that you can tell straight away that when you listen to something like Her Voice Resides up to things like Where We Belong, it's a really nice development. You can tell that they've all developed as musicians, and Matt Tuck's voice has gone through quite a lot of changes. I think it was around the sort of Scream Aim Fire sort of time that he lost his voice. He blew it out, so then he had to kind of retrain himself to be able to come up with those screams again, and the progress that he did make, I think, was absolutely phenomenal. So again, hats off to him for that. But in terms of their music, it was very melodic, still heavy in a lot of parts. They had the screams, they had the cleans, and Padge is just a phenomenal guitarist. And then, yeah, some of the stuff that he comes up with is just really amazing. And Moose on drums, again, he had quite a lot of power and precision in what he was doing. Obviously, I talked more about that in my last video, so I'll link that up as well. I think Jay's still in rehab, but I don't really want to speculate at this time. I don't really know what's going on, so I'll skip over that. But the new guy that they've got is Jamie. He's absolutely phenomenal, isn't he? Jeez, his screams are incredible. I saw them live and just blew me away. Absolutely amazing. But my number 1 slot has to go to Killswitch Engage, because there's a lot of their songs that, again, very similar to Bullet. They had these very heavy sections, but then obviously these clean sections as well with the vocals alongside it. But I just found that the way that they approached their music and the kind of riffs that they came up with were just so much more tasty, and I latched onto that more with the bands that I've been in over the years. I think we've covered more Killswitch stuff than Bullet, and yeah, I think that's just testament to Killswitch's kind of ingenious in the way that they approach their music. And it's just literally like, I think today or yesterday it came out that Howard Jones is perhaps not rejoining the band, but he's certainly been doing some more work with them. He's just done some duets and vocals and stuff. So this is really exciting stuff. I cannot wait to hear what they've come up with on the new album. So I'll have to wait for that. But all in all, I think the drumming, the bass, the guitars, Adam D's just got such a way with the crowd, you know, engaging with them. He just really does not care what other people think, and I think it's a great sort of aspect in life to have. You've been up on stage, not taking yourself too seriously, but he's still serious about the music itself, and I think that's why they've got to where they are now. So yeah, that's my top 10 list. Do you guys agree with it? If not, then again, just let me know in the comments. If you've got another top 10 that you think would be better, would top mine. I doubt it, but let us know in the comments section. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next video.